apply our new Future Champions Social Club livery. So it can go in many different colours, as you will see, but this is what I'm going to do on this Civic Type R. So first of all, I painted it in the base colour that I want the rear of the car to look like, and I'm going to go with a white, a blue and a slight grey sort of pattern on this car. So nice and easy to start with. I said the decals will be on my page that I will share for you under the FCSC, and it's just a mouthful. I'll tag you in it when it's available. So nice and simple. So decals first. I put in this nice tribal wrap I've got here at the back. Now, colour for this could be, like I said, it could be anything you want. It could be, you know, like I said, any colour you want. I'm going to go with, because it's white, I want it to sort of blend to the white, so I'm going to go with like an off-white grey sort of colour. So I'm going to expand this right out, so it sort of covers halfway over the door, but I'm going to rotate this so that, see that tick sort of shape there at the back by the rear wheel, and try and put that so it's along the wheel arch there. You know, over the back it doesn't quite work there. Why is it not working? I'll have to just make it a little bit bigger to get rid of that. There, that'll do. So you haven't got a random shape there at the back, you've got a little flick. Okay, great, that's fine, that'll work. Okay, lovely. Right, duplicate that symmetrically so it's the same both sides. See the tick there on the left hand side is now reversed. Okay, next layer, we're going to do this on the left hand side each time because, well, it's just easier, to be honest. All the decals you create are always that way round. Find the spotty fade. I'm going to make this like a sort of royal bluish sort of colour thing. So extend this so then it covers most of the car, and then you want the blue there to go halfway across, kind of in the middle of that wheel arch at the top. Don't worry about the bleed over the roof, that's totally normal. But also, if you look when you come down here onto the bonnet and along the window, you see it's all jagged and doesn't, you know, there's a gap, and it looks, when you put it all together, it looks a bit rubbish. So what you do with that is you go into that little camera there, go into the limit angle and put that all the way to 10, and see it just disappeared. So let's do that again. Go back to -10, see how it just completely disappears towards the camera. Go back to 0, or go to -4, you can see how the jaggedness is appearing on the edge of the decal there. Keep going on to 0, so that's what it was when you first put it on, and then put that all the way to 10, and then it completely covers those edges, see? Okay, limit depth, if you go all the way to 10 again, look around this side like this, it then bleeds it to the other side of the car, which then you're only using one decal instead of two, which again, in uncomplicated things, it's going to be a godsend. So I reduce this again, see how it just disappears. Right, lovely. You have got that little bit of a thing at the top there, but again, we're going to sort that out later on. Finish on that. Front bit then, we want a kind of a fade on the front, or there's two ways of doing this, okay? There's a fade you could do on the front, which I think is what I've done previously. Make that the same colour as that one, swing this over here, and then make it bigger. But you see when you do that doesn't quite meet. So if you go onto that one again and change from align to surface to align with camera, that line's then flat, and then you can butt it up, and then it works. See? So you've got a nice fade going around the front. I don't know about that bumper there. We'll come to that back in a minute. We could always work on that. Duplicate symmetrically, and again the fade there at the front works because that gap there at the front on the bumper, it's just nice to sort of like put an advertisement like the quick fit do on the touring cars, for like a little number plate sort of a thing. That would work there. But also, as you can see here, you've got that thing there around the arches. So again, do your limit angle, cover it so you can see, change that all the way to 10, and then it's gone. Nice and smooth, essentially. Finish on that one. You probably want to do this first, to be honest, before you duplicate, but yeah. Alright. You see there on the edge of the decal, you've got little nicks there where it's just not completely smooth. So, but again, we can address that shortly. Bonnet wise, same again. But this time you can use just the solid square. Bring it up the top, stretch it right over. And then you can go to about here. Finish there. So what you're looking at there is, you see where it starts to fade, you just want to have that line just above, okay? Just come back out, get that faded square again, get that one, change its colour, rotate that around, and then just make it fit essentially. Just match it all the way up, so if I get that there, template, doing there, see again, it's not thingy, so you need to go, apply to align with camera, and move that up, and then the fade then works all the way down the front. I wouldn't worry too much about the grey bit there because at the end of the day the fade's still working, but if you want to make that bigger, you can just make the decal bigger, basically make it taller. Right, the fade's there, great. Right, so then that's the faded front end there. Now the other way to do that is have completely solid front wings and bumper, and then do like a single stripe on the thing and fade that either way. It's a similar sort of thing. Tell you what, let's do it. Let's do that just to show you the difference. So just delete these off. So you delete the fade off. Okay. It's around again. So get the blue in the colour you want. Doesn't matter so much what they align to surface this one. Just get it to match there. You see on the bumper, as you go along this way, it's not really bleeding round. If you go too much, it's going to hide the dots there. So you want to have it just so it covers there. And again, limit angle. Right, that so it makes it all smooth. Depth. So it goes around the bumper there. Tell you what, I won't do that again. So the 0, it shows that. The limit depth then, if you come all the way over, it covers the bumper like that. Okay. Now what you want to do is duplicate symmetrically, so that's fine, but then the entire front end is covered, see, so you've got no number plate sort of gap there on the front bumper. Go onto the bonnet, and then you can do it this way instead. So instead of stretching it over like that, like we did that time, we're going to rotate it 90 degrees and bring it over here. Any way you want. And for this, I'm going to put it just to the edge. See down here, just to the edge of where the bonnet line is, just there. Okay, just check along the edge of the bonnet there. See, it's not quite smooth. I can personally see the little white jagged bits. You can see it there above the headlight actually. So again, limit angle, do that, and then it's all nice and smooth. Duplicate symmetrically. Okay, great. And then you can go to not pattern. Go to the fade again, line it up, and then stretch it out. And make sure there's no lines there. I always, with these stuff like that, when it's such as the thing, always put the limit angle to 10 just to make sure it wraps properly. Symmetrically on that, and then you've got the nice white line with the faded thing on the bonnet as well. I think I might leave it like that, to be perfectly honest, because it looks alright, doesn't it? Roof wise, okay, so then we're going to go to the roof like this. I'm just going to make it black. Nice. You can put a carbon effect on it if you want. So you want to stretch it so it covers at 90% of the roof like this. Okay, but you've still got that bit there. Okay, so there's a good way to get rid of that. I'll come into there, find that decal there, the bent, not bent sausage, but you get what I mean. Might be an idea on this one to stretch it out while it's still white. Make it nice and big, and then rotate that and switch away. See how it's on the left hand side there, see by the bonnet how it's bleeding through. You want to try and get that so then it doesn't. So you've got that bit there on the rear wing, but that's not such an issue. You can cover that if you want to, but that looks alright. But at the end of the day, you're going to make them black anyway, so make sure that's all covered. Make that black. See, they've got that little bit there, a little white bit there in the middle. So again, adjust it, just bring it down that touch. You don't want to. This is where you need a bit of finesse and a bit of fine tuning. There we go. So the black runs now to the back of the car. On the side there, you can't really see. But again, look, this is the whole thing about wrapping around to the depth. Look at the little, on the spoiler there, the roof thing. See, you've got the white bits. So we need to get that big black square for the roof wrapped around. But now that curve thing follows the contours of the roof, of the roof lining. Okay, duplicate symmetrically. Okay, find that. Go into this. Find your limit depth, and you watch the white bits there. You go into depth. And that should disappear, but it's not doing it. I don't know why it's not doing that. GT7 things again. Either way, I'd still do that. To get rid of that, just get another one, make it black, and then stretch it over. Okay, it's not bled through the sides, no. Angle was it? There you are, angle. Lovely. Okay, done. It's probably the angle I've done actually, not the. That's what it is. Let's just reduce that for a minute. If I delete that. There you are. Go to the limit angle, not the limit depth. And then you want to use the one black one then on the roof instead of the two. Just me being a bit thick this time of morning. So that's essentially it. You can make them colours whatever you want, make the wheels colours whatever you want, as long as it matches, it doesn't clash. And then put on your decals however you want to do it. I mean, the rear, again, it's plain air, you just put whatever you want there really. It's going to apply differently to different cars, but that's essentially the basics. So I'll share these decals for you now. And I can't wait to see what colours you come up with. Cheers.